This assignment works at merit level. It might be that you choose not to do any of it for your students if they're not going to be able to reach merit level. We think the way the exercise has been structured, it'll allow access to merit level for many more students. This is the Birdbeak evolution game as part of the BTEC assignment. We've called the first part of the game the feeding game. The idea is that we're modelling how different paper clips will be able to represent different bird beak shapes. This is the basic beak shape represented by the paperclip you can see on the screen now. After a process of evolution, we're suggesting that the paperclip would change into various shapes and sizes in order to mirror what happened in the bird beak evolution. The first part of the feeding game is to use a variety of different food sources. We've chosen to use a bean pulse mixture. And there are circles that represent where the parent birds and the chicks are sitting, and then the paperclip representing the bird beak scoops up the various parts from the food and deposits them into the circles, which represents either the chicks or the parents being fed. You'll see here some students just showing how easy that little exercise is. Unfortunately, things might roll around your desk, but I don't think that's a great problem. They've chosen themselves how they're going to feed either the parents or the chicks. There's a results sheet for the students to record the types of foods that were collected. In our case, we've decided to add just a little twist in the tale by deciding that various foods have different calorific values or food values, just to show that some foods are more beneficial to the organism than others. You might not choose to do that. We've also arbitrarily decided certain food values are needed for the organisms to survive. Game 2 is where the process of evolution actually starts. Game 1 was all about feeding efficiency, clearly something to do with evolution, but not responsible for changing the shape of the beaks at all, merely the survival or not of individual organisms or individual birds. Game 2 really gets into the process of how evolution could bring about change to the basic bird beak shape, which in our case are different paperclips. There are different paperclip sizes and shapes that represent a variety of different beak shapes in birds. This part of the game introduces random chance, part of the evolutionary process. This is the part of the game where mutation begins to take place. The mutation of the gene for bird beak shape is represented by the number on the die. For example, if you throw a 4, the mutation of the gene produces the beak shape that you can see. If you throw a 6, then the gene mutates in a different way to produce this particular beak shape. The game is then played using the mutated beak shape to see how well the new beak shape can collect the food and if there's enough food collected for that bird to survive. We think it's advisable for the students to work in groups of 3 or 4, and they can compare the results as they go along. We have a worksheet for them to fill in. You'll see in a moment just how that worksheet gets completed as the game progresses. In this case, player 1 threw a die 2 first time round and produced this particular beak shape. They were able to collect quite a lot of red beans, which meant it was able to survive. Then for the next round they go on and threw a 5, etc, etc. And you can see that students are able to compare results instantly. We've provided a worksheet to help students compile their evidence for the assignment. Students are able to compare their findings from the simulation game with some of the Darwinian theories of evolution. The prompts on this screen should be sufficient for merit learners to provide the evidence they need for this assignment. If you think you need further evidence, perhaps you could ask your students to collect the paper clips and arrange them into a possible sequence to show an evolutionary pathway. We hope this activity has helped your students understand the process of evolution and be successful in their assignment.